Hey, New York. It's time for New York sports talk the way it ought to be. It's the Big Apple Sports Podcast, starring Peter Weintraub and Evan Freeman.
Welcome, everybody, to the Big Apple Sports Podcast. I'm Evan Freeman.
And I'm Pete Weintraub. Today, I am Mama.
Oh, great. We're back to this already.
Yeah.
All right. So today is Monday. Yesterday was Sunday, which means that we had football.
Yes, finally. Well,
probably one of the worst opening Sundays I've ever seen for New York sports teams in my life. Oh,
it was bad.
God. They were let's start with the Jets, who were just god-awful. They started off really well, though. They had an interception in the end zone, which they almost completely ruined by tackling their own player, who then realized he was tackled and was almost murdered by the center for the Buffalo Bills. But other than that, they look like a bad team. And this defense, which everyone said was going to be so good and keep them in games, could not stop LaShawn McCoy or Tyrod Taylor for that matter.
Or Mike Tolbert.
Oh, God. First of all, it's impossible to stop Mike Tolbert. He is too fat and too low to the ground.
That's true. But still. Yeah, it was not a good showing for the Jets. Like we talked about in the preseason leading up to this week, their offensive line struggled. And rushing-wise, Bilal Powell only rushed for 22 yards on 7 attempts, barely over 3 yards a carry. Matt Forte, even worse, 6 attempts for 16 yards, which is under 3 yards an attempt. No receiver had more than 59 yards. That went to our newbie and the guy we appointed, best wide receiver on the team, Jermaine Kearse. 7 receptions for 59 yards. And McCown, 67% completion percentage, but he didn't even 5 yards an attempt, not even. He was sacked.
And he threw a really bad pick.
Yeah, especially at the end. He got sacked once, and they lost that sack for 11 yards and obviously a turnover. It was rough. It was really rough. There's nothing good outside of the defensive play that you said. Marcus May looked good, which was nice to see. But outside of that, there were really no bright spots. And one thing, Evan, that really came into question for me was with 4 to 5 minutes left in the game. I think it was 4 and change left in the game. The Jets had 4th and 8 or something. It was 2nd and 20, I believe, because of a penalty. But they got to 4th and 8. It's 4 minutes and change to go. You're down by two scores. Why not go for it? Obviously, you look at the passing statistics, you see they weren't doing much more than checkdowns. And whenever McCown did throw downfield, it was intercepted. But, yeah, what was your take on that? Obviously this is a lost season, but I feel like if you're Todd Bowles and you're in a contract year, you have to play with a little more urgency than that at that stage of the game.
Yeah. There's a really easy explanation for this, and it's that Todd Bowles is not a good coach. He is not a good X's and O's guy. He's a good team guy. The players get along with him. They like him. He understands scheme, but he is not a play caller. And the fact that you're going to go with down 2 scores with that little amount of time left, with the way your team has been playing, and you're going to punt, oh, well, we thought we could get field position. Really? At what point in that game did you ever stop anybody and get good field position?
Yeah, it
doesn't make any sense. The stuff he says doesn't make sense. Even last year where he goes, well, it's not Hackenberg's time to play it. Okay, is he going to get reps with the first team during practice? No, because we're still trying to win games. You've been eliminated for the playoffs for 5 weeks. You're still trying to win games. He doesn't know how to coach a team. And this is the problem the Jets have had, and we've been over this with the whole developing quarterbacks. But when you get a first-time first-time head coach with a young quarterback, and the head coach is a defensive-minded guy like Rex Ryan was, yeah, your defense might be good, even though they're not right now.
Nope.
But your offense is going to struggle because they're always going to put the faith in their defense. And this isn't a defensive-oriented league anymore. Yes, if you have a very good defense, they can carry you like the Broncos did for Peyton Manning. But they were a once-in-a-lifetime defense. They were a top 10 all-time NFL defense. Yeah. The Jets are not even close to that. And when you can't even stop the Bills at all, LaShawn McCoy just ran right over them. Yeah, they look like they weren't even standing there.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to that, you have to look at the coach and be like, listen, yes, there's not a lot of talent on the team, but when you still make those mistakes, X's and O's wise, is he even worth keeping around going forward?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, like you said, there were plenty of games last year, both when they were technically still in it and then down the stretch where it's like, what's the point of playing Fitzpatrick? I get you want to win games, but at the same time, the season's over. You need to develop these guys, and they're not. I'm still hearing myself on your end, by the way.
No, you're in my headphones.
All right. So yeah, that's just that. I don't think he's a good coach, particularly in terms of that. He might be a very good defensive coach. He was a safety in the NFL, or what was he? A defensive back, actually, excuse me. And he may just be a better defensive coach because his defenses with Bruce Arians when he was in Arizona before he came over here were pretty good. But the Jets have no talent on defense outside of the secondary. I think it's time to reevaluate. And if he doesn't start to make better in-game decisions, we might have some trouble going forward. And McCagnon may not retain him. And that's if McCagnon also still has his job after this season.
True that. All right, moving on to the Giants. And I feel kind of bad about this because right before the Giants game, I texted one of my friends and I said, "Are you ready to watch the Giants lose?" He got real mad at me. Yeah. And then they lost. And they looked absolutely terrible. They looked so bad. I mean, at what point do you realize that you can't run the football?
They couldn't last year.
Like 16 yards. What do you have? The leading rusher had 16 yards, 7 carries.
Oh, he's on my fantasy team. I'll tell you exactly what he had.
That was a genius pickup, Peter. You're going to pick up a giant, Paul Perkins, the Giants running back.
Dude, I'm in like a 12-team league. There was nobody left.
Come on, there had to be somebody.
I actually dropped him this morning, and I'm still looking for who I can insert into my week 2 lineup. But yeah, it was bad. It was really, really bad. And Manning, high completion percentage, but low yards per completion, and he didn't throw a touchdown, threw an interception. Cowboys just ran all over them. It was simple as that. Ezekiel Elliott had 104 yards rushing. Dak Prescott did not turn the ball over, threw for a touchdown, and Jason Witten, who's now the Cowboys' career leader in receiving yards. So,
congratulations, douchebag.
Yeah. But in all honesty, we talked about this also with the Giants, and even more so with the Giants, is that they need to protect Eli Manning. They need to be able to run the ball because no matter what, if Odell is healthy, which he's not, and we'll get to that in a second, and Brandon Marshall and Sterling Shepard, and everyone's healthy on the receiving front, you can't be a one-dimensional team in this league. You can be more of a passing team, but you need to run every once in a while. They can't run. They absolutely cannot run. And that is going to hurt them. You saw what it did to them this week, and the Cowboys aren't the cream of the crop in the NFL. There are much better defensive teams in this league. So, yeah, Perkins, 16 yards on 7 attempts. Darkwa was next. He did okay. 3 rushes for 14 yards. Maybe they should have gone with him a little bit more. But, yeah, when you have no line, you can't run. When you have no line, you can't protect the quarterback. And that's going to be an issue for them all year. So,
and the bigger issue becomes, what the hell did they do in the offseason? You have a GM who people have been calling for his head for years. And every single time they're about to fire him, the Giants win the Super Bowl. But last year he improved the defense. They needed to improve the defense. He did nothing to fix this offensive line. And we talked about it with Eric Flowers playing the wrong spot on the O-line. He needs to be moved to guard. They did not do anything to improve this, to protect Eli, to give him a run game, to give him time to pass. And he spread the ball around yesterday. But missing Odell Beckham is a big, big thing for this team. And that's why I remember we said it, anyone who listened to a previous episode, that he shouldn't play this week if he's not 100%. And clearly he wasn't, because if he was, he would have been out there.
Yeah, he would have been out there. But, again, how much of a difference does he make?
I think I don't think they win that game, but I think it makes a big difference when you have the explosive power of Odell Beckham Jr. on that field. One, it's going to open up other receivers. And you get him the ball in that 5-yard slant, he's turned into a 20, 25-yard gain.
True. But Eli needs time to throw. And luckily, Eli didn't fumble or anything. He only had the 1 pick, the 1 turnover. But, I mean, when you don't have time to throw as a quarterback, and we talked about this in the preseason, it doesn't matter if you're Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. You don't have time. You see what all those guys look like when they don't have time. They're done. They're going to get knocked down.
That's what Odell gives him, though, because Odell gets open so fast. So without him on that field, And
He has
hopefully
nothing.
hopefully the Giants, it's just this week, which is why we're not saying he should have played. We're saying that he made the right move in not playing.
Right.
Because if he played and got hurt and now you don't have him for 6 weeks, this is what you would be looking at for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No run game, no passing, and just garbage.
Getting blown out.
They look like garbage.
Yeah.
The only team that looked worse than them was the Colts. Actually, no, the Jets. And the only team that looked worse than the Jets was the Colts.
Yeah, 46. What was it, 46-9 or something like
Against
that?
the Rams.
Yeah, that's pretty terrible. It worked well for me. Leonard Fournette's one of my fantasy running backs, so that was very good. But yeah, I mean, for either New York team, the offensive line was huge. I mean, McCown didn't have a lot of time either. Obviously, he has even less to work with than the Giants.
Well, McCown didn't read the field well either.
He did.
The play that they had where he double clutched and threw it late, and the guy stepped out of bounds trying to dive into the end zone. He should have thrown the ball the first time. This is a veteran quarterback. That's what you want to see. You want to see his team be competitive. We don't want to see them win games.
Yeah,
because we want a high draft pick. So they did exactly what they were supposed to do. Was that they lost. But if you're going to have him out there, he needs to be spreading the ball around, getting it to guys so we can see what we have. If he can't read the defense and doesn't know where to go with the ball, might as well put Christian Hackenberg out there. Going to get the same result.
Yeah, no, that's true. But, and that's the one thing, Evan. A lot of people said, why did he barely get any reps in a preseason game? I think that definitely has something to do with it. He went 3 for 4 passing in the first one, didn't play the next 2, and then he went 6 for 8 in the finale. Yeah. He barely played in real live game action. Practicing.
He shouldn't be playing at all.
Right.
Give it to one of the young guys. It's really this. Listen, Josh McCown's a nice journeyman quarterback, but this guy has never been a winner ever. So he's not the guy where it's like, we're bringing in Brett Favre at 40 or Kurt Warner in his old age, a guy who's been a winner before and can help us develop this team. Josh McCown has never been a winner in his life.
True.
He probably didn't win Pee Wee football. Okay, I guarantee he came in dead last in Pop Warner. Okay,
we can look that up, folks. I'm not going to look that up.
We'll have that information next week.
Yeah.
Or I'm sure someone will get mad at us, or Josh McCown's mother will send me a letter or something.
Do you know what they're saying about you on the Big Apple Sports Podcast, Joshua?
Mom, what the hell are you talking about? What the hell's the Big Apple Sports Podcast?
Well, that's exactly what he would say. Yeah. Well, that's exactly right. Yeah, he hasn't won. I mean, outside of that one year where Cutler got hurt in Chicago and they were having a good year, and he took over and he helped them get to the playoffs. Outside of that, but that was a very talented team.
The Cleveland Browns said that he wasn't good enough to be on their roster.
That's also true. And when the Cleveland Browns say that, and then you get him, you're in for some fun. So I agree. I mean, if they look this anemic, and you might be right, Evan, I was optimistic. I said maybe 5 or 6 weeks before they make a change. But you know what? If they look this inept on offense the next 2 weeks, I don't see why in week 4 we don't see Petty or Hackenberg starting.
You might as well. There's nothing left to lose. This guy does not look like much of an upgrade.
Yeah, it really doesn't. I mean, Fitzpatrick looked better with this same offensive line for the most part. And, yeah, now he can't – I mean, obviously Jameis Winston's a very good quarterback, but he's not going to really play in Tampa unless Winston gets hurt. Which
I was wrong about because I thought Jameis Winston was too stupid to be an NFL quarterback. But he's been a very nice surprise down there in Tampa Bay.
He has, but they can't win.
He's always stopped stealing crab legs. So,
well, I mean,
that's the first step to becoming
an
NFL quarterback is to stop stealing crab legs from the grocery store.
I don't understand that at all. I really don't, especially in college. I mean, I know they don't take. I know that there was a bunch of articles last year written about the conditions that they have to live in, but they get free books. They get free tutors. They often get a shitload of free food. So why you have to steal crab legs? I have no fucking idea.
College students do stupid shit. Cam Newton threw a laptop out of a window when he was at junior college.
Yes. Yes.
It was stolen.
It was stolen. And
I'm still right about him. He still has not won a Super Bowl, so the jury is still out on that.
I don't think he's going to.
I don't think so either.
All right. Moving on to NHL preseason. Starts 1 week from today as the Rangers take on the Islanders in the season opener. Obviously, where both of us are putting our money for that one. Evan, what are we looking for?
Well, one, you should be looking for me on the Jumbotron because I'm going to be sitting 13 rows behind the benches. I love preseason hockey.
Yeah.
But really, I just want to see what the young guys can do. I want to see how VC comes out, see how Booch comes out, and just see the young guys play together and just watch them put it together against a team that has a decent amount of veterans on it, but obviously not as high of a skill level as the Rangers. But I want to see them play better in the defensive zone. That's what I want to see in the preseason. I want to see them play better defensively and just look like they're making an effort to keep the puck out of the net. Because last year it just looked like, oh, the puck's on the defensive stick. Here we go.
Yep. Let them take a shot. What's going to happen?
Yeah, that's beerly cocky. That's not how you play in the NHL.
No.
So
that's not how you should play at any level.
No, I mean, that's how we play because, no one plays. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, come on. Once the defenseman has the puck, I mean, come on. It's breakaway time.
Mm-hmm.
But really, that's what I'm looking for. I want them to be more responsible in the defensive zone. I want to see how Shattenkirk plays. It's the first game, so I'm not expecting anything crazy. But, it would be nice to see 3, 4, 5 goals. For preseason, good conservative. It's preseason. It's not that crazy. I think
that's true.
Every game I go to, they average about 3 to 5 goals in the preseason. So, I mean, hopefully guys like I can get a look at a guy like Ryan Gropp, whose development has been delayed because of the fact that the Rangers got so many acquisitions.
Mm-hmm.
But he was highly touted. We talked about him before last season, before the Rangers signed Jimmy Vesey, about him coming up. But obviously it got pushed back because Buchnevich came and Vesey came. So hopefully the young guys will show us a little something.
Mm-hmm. And what about the Islanders?
Oh, they can suck a dick. No. The Islanders, you want to see, you just want to see them. It's basically the same thing. You want to see them play better on defense. And then
goalie.
And then lose. Yeah, no, just lose. Just don't even have to put a goalie in the net. Just go out there with 6 skaters because, you might as well. Mm-hmm. No, but it's more to see guys like Shane Prince take a step forward. And you just want – I just basically need John Tavares to be healthy. That's really what it comes down to. Because if John Tavares isn't healthy, it doesn't even matter if anyone else takes a step forward because they're not going to do anything. Their skill level is not as high as other teams. But when you have a top 4 player in the NHL who can carry the team, you need him healthy for the season. The Rangers got by with Mika Zibanejad being out for half the season last year. When you have skill on the team, you can get away with that. When you have a lot less skill, you can't. So Islander fans, you better pray John Tavares is healthy. And I hope he's healthy too.
Because you want him to go on in the following season. Yeah. I mean.
That's true. I want to be healthy for the rest of his career as long as he plays for the New York Rangers.
Yeah. Otherwise, you don't care.
Nah, who gives a shit?
All right. So anyway. So we'll do our plugs, and then we'll get into it. So first up, weight loss by Pete. If you're looking to lose weight in a healthy, sustainable, permanent way, look out for my service. You can find it at weightlossbypete.com. On the homepage, there's a free report. All you got to do is click the button, put in your email. You'll be able to download it from there. I'll also email you a copy in case your computer is firewalled up to the point that you can't download something straight off of a web page. And you can also book a strategy call with me by going to weightlossbypete.com/strategy. Book a date and time that works for you. I can work with you anywhere in the world. I've worked with Marines in Japan and businessmen in the Midwest and blah, 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 blah.
Businessmen in Japan.
Yeah. No businessmen in Japan. Just Marines. Just Marines who are American who happen to be stationed in Japan.
Sake bombs.
Well, they did a lot of that, which is why they need to reach out to me in the first place. But we got that shit under control. Yeah. Well, I don't think they were there. All right. Any plugs on your end? I know you wrote another article about players to watch out for on the Rangers. Correct?
So you can check that out on Hub Pages. The link is on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Big Apple Sports Podcast. It's the top 5 players, I think, for the Rangers that need to have a breakout season in order for the Rangers to be cup contenders. It's very well written, and it's amazing, so you should all read it, and I'm awesome. So, Scumbag in Sports Time. Winner is Michael Bennett, Colin Kaepernick's best friend, Michael Bennett. Complete asshole. ESPN plastered what is now considered a fake story about how he was held at gunpoint and the police threatened to blow his brains out because there was a call that someone had a gun.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what happened. So what happened was he was in Las Vegas in a casino. Yeah. Someone started shooting a gun in the casino.
Jesus.
Yes. No, it is not just a call of someone with a gun. Someone was actively shooting at people.
Yes.
So the police came.
Yes.
He was apparently hiding behind a slot machine, and when the cop showed up, he decided to run.
Okay.
Now, people are like, well, someone was shooting. Of course he's going to run. Yes, perfectly reasonable to run from an active shooter scene.
I probably would too.
Yes. The problem is you have to see it also from the other side. If I show up in a police car and there's a call of an active shooter, and I see a guy who's behind a slot machine with the thing with the arm,
slot machine,
and then he runs, I'm going to assume that he has some involvement in the shooting.
Sure, especially because you just showed up and you're there to figure out what's going on and stop it.
Exactly, and what happens is usually when you hear gunshots, you're either going to run or you're going to hide. Unless, of course, you have a carry permit, in which case you're going to shoot that bastard. Yay. But usually people don't run when the cops show up. They run when the shooting starts.
Yes.
So, of course, that automatically flips a switch in the police officer's brains. And Bennett was actually detained by 2 Hispanic officers who they're saying, which I'm going to assume they're not lying about this because most of his story sounds like bullshit already. They never threatened to shoot him in the head.
Yeah.
And hopefully they had body cam footage or something that we can come out and we can get the truth on this. But his story sounds like complete bullshit because he filed no complaint with the superior. Mm-hmm. He waited a week and then came out with this story to ESPN. So it sounds like a big attention grab. The Las Vegas Police Department, that's not what they're called, but for the Metropolitan Police Department.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Has already asked the NFL to investigate him and possibly
suspend
him for this because this is nonsense. He's smearing their name all over ESPN, and everyone's giving him all this sympathy like, oh, you have such a hard life. Even if you're an NFL player, you can still get murdered by the cops for doing nothing. That's not the world we live in, people.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other podcast.
Yes, that is.
But honestly, this guy's such a scumbag. To do this as an attention grab, and I keep waiting for ESPN to print a retraction. And it's going to have to happen eventually.
Well, they're going to do it, but they're not going to make it obvious. It's going to be in the original article or video with a little fucking blurb on the bottom that you can barely read because it's such small font. That's all that's going to happen.
Yeah. And this just shows it's another reason why I hate ESPN, because they have is political agendas. They got no information on this story. They took his word and they ran with it. And now it's coming out that he's lying. So ESPN, fuck you.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons we do this podcast. If we felt that sports talk radio or most sports networks didn't do this, then I mean, we still probably would have done it, but we probably wouldn't have done it to the extent that we have.
Everyone needs to know what we think about sports.
Always.
They need to hear our opinion. This is why people tune in. This is why people live.
I understand. But we also do this because obviously we try to look at it. We are fans, so it gives you a different perspective. But when you're a major outlet like that, you're supposed to give unbiased information. ESPN was so great 10, 15 years ago because when you turned on SportsCenter, there were guys like Stuart Scott who did things in a creative way where they'd break down the highlights of all the different games going on at the time, but they make it entertaining but they didn't really give their opinions either. And if they did, it was all game-based. It was bringing in former athletes, managers, coaches, whatever, front office people, giving their opinion on a player who's either doing really well or a player who's struggling or teams in both of those categories as well. Now it's a whole fucking other news network with an agenda, and it's ridiculous. So when we talk here, we try to talk about, and the reason we do about Scumbag in sports is because of people like this who are trying to make everything out to be against them, when in actuality, I don't know what he dealt with throughout his life. Maybe he dealt with some bullshit, and neither of us is saying that in 100% of cases, these guys are wrong. But in this case, from the evidence that's come out, the Las Vegas Police Department, whatever the hell they're called, Metropolitan, whatever, they wouldn't be coming forward this vehemently denying the events that he said transpired if they didn't have proof. I guarantee you they have body cam footage, and I guarantee you they have eyewitnesses who will back them up and not him. So it's one thing if this actually did happen, but I'm sure, like you said, if it actually had happened, then this would have been reported a lot earlier than it was a week after the event, after he didn't file anything against them.
Exactly, and he's a douchebag. So with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe our podcasts on YouTube and on your podcasting apps.
iTunes.
Make sure, into iTunes and SoundCloud, and make sure to follow us on social media, Instagram, Big Apple Sports Podcast, Facebook, Big Apple Sports Podcast.
And those assholes at Twitter, NY Big Apple Sport.
And don't forget, the website should be coming out soon. Make sure to check out my articles, which are posted on hub pages through our Facebook. And Peter, what are you writing for again?
I'm writing for 12 Up right now. I took a writing test this morning where I had to come up with 2 articles in 2 hours. You
suck.
I finished with 15 minutes to spare. I'm sure I did fine, but we'll find out. Either way, I'll be writing for them. So check me out there, 12up.com. All right. So that is all for today. So we'll be back at you tomorrow with whatever the hell has happened in the world of New York sports between now and then. For that, I'm Pete Weintraub.
And I'm Evan Freeman.
We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.